Hey everyone, and welcome to this Christmas edition of the Snapchat. I'm joined today by none other than the most festive man in California, Cozy Snap.
I just want to be able to wear turtlenecks without being chastised. Listen, I put this on today and I was like, I like it. I'm a turtleneck fan, man. And I knew when I wore this on here, I was like, Alex is he's just gonna do me in. Listen, you gotta try it. Give a turtleneck a try. It's a confidence piece.
You know what, man? I should. But unfortunately, I only own two types of shirts: Kirkland signature shirts and Adidas shirts. So it's very. I do have some Puma shirts mixed in because the colors look good on camera.
So diverse. Puma.
Some,
okay.
little bit of variety there, but generally speaking, I could use a nice sweater vest and a nice turtleneck. Turtleneck and chain. Good call out to Lonely Island there. Honestly, you're not wearing a chain actually. That's crazy.
The Rock, man, is that's who I think of with the turtleneck chain look, man. No question. Well, here's the thing. One of my favorite parts about making Rivals content is just the new audience that comes with it. And bro, I'm cracking up at some of the comments with my bright freaking wardrobe that I have. It's great. Like I love getting a new feel of people. Listen, it's the only way I can have fun as an adult, right? Is to wear not Kirkland, Adidas, Puma. I don't know who does that, but I want a little class,
It is kind of funny when you open yourself out to a brand new audience, and it's so funny seeing those. I've seen those comments on yours about your wardrobe and stuff. I think it's so funny. You're doing a remarkable job on your Rivals content, by the way. Like I know it's a little off topic, but dude, unbelievable good work. On mine, it's so fun because I'm getting the who let their dad make videos on Marvel Rivals. I'm getting those comments.
Dude, I got one that's like this guy was like, this old ass guy with his stupid white headphones. Your content's good, but why do you have headphones and that mic? And I was like, well, the mic so I can speak in it. And then, for anyone who doesn't know, I think by now you guys do, but we wear headphones to be able to hear the audio feedback. I have an air conditioner blasting right here, so I have to have it to be able to even listen to myself. Do you have in-ear? Yeah, you have in-ear audio. Yeah.
No, I don't. I don't really hear myself that much. Like if I take my headphones off, I guess now that I took them off, I can look at the bedhead I have with the headphones. I can hear myself a little bit, I guess. There's a little bit of feedback, but primarily we're wearing headphones. How the hell can I hear Cozy if I'm not wearing headphones? Like that's the most obvious answer as to why we're wearing headphones on a podcast, by the way. But these are open ear headphones, so they don't really impact my ability to speak. I sound like I'm not wearing headphones to myself. Yours are closed, so you must sound like you're in a tunnel.
Yeah, no, it's great. I love it. I can't hear all that craziness going right outside my door, man. My son's playing the drums every day, so it's a madhouse over there. And what else was a madhouse was how popular Doom 2099 was, man. How do we even start talking about this guy?
Dude, he's 35% of the meta right now as of recording, which is crazy. 34.3 technically, running a 51% win rate, which is a little on the lower end. But here's the thing. I loved this card. I came in at 5 stars, which is a little hot. Does he actually hit 5 stars? I'm not sure he hits that. If I think about what a 5-star card is, like a banger 5-star. If I'm talking Surtur, stuff like that, OG Miss Marvel, stuff those are some of the most broken cards in the game, actually. But anyways, I digress. What I will say is that he's definitely good. He's 4 and above easily. What you're seeing right now is this card is so popular that it completely elevated Clog as an archetype. Clog had disappeared forever, and now legit, Cannonball Clog is one of the best performing decks in the game because it counters this. It's so insane how one specific card release brought back a whole new archetype. But I love it, man. I think this card's great. It's a whole new way to play Snap. It's a new take on Zoo. Buddy, we talked a lot last week about different synergies and combinations. I tried all of them, and they all felt like they had their place. Dude, I loved it. How was your experience?
Yeah, I think what we called was it was just gonna be a fun, easy card to play, and we've had so many complex, crazy cards come to the game, and it's man, I like cards like this, man. There's a lot of lovers of Electro when he first came out too, or when people first got him, because it's play one card, do the job, results, right? And we knew this card was gonna be a little bit worse at launch, as all cards are really. But yeah, I think. I definitely don't think it's a 5-star, but I would, definitely say it's one that's worth getting in the season for the season that will last beyond its reach now. And it's just cool, man. The interaction of being able to really get wide. It reminds me of a baby tribunal in some ways, right? You're just focused on the wide game, not the one lane at a time. And those decks are just cool and different and fun.
You know how I knew it was good? when I was in situations where I would Psylocke on turn 2, and I had both Doom 2099 and Galacta. And I was thinking to myself, who do I play first? Should I just play the Galacta, then get... No, do I want the extra Doom bot right now? Like, the fact that I even had to consider that, given how absolutely cracked Galacta is, gives me some degree of confidence that this is, in fact, a good card. But I do agree. I don't think it quite reaches that 5-star range. Like, I don't quite think it hits there, but it definitely feels like it's in the 4-star range. Like, it definitely feels like a good, solid card. And if you're playing it this week and you're like, I was getting countered, I was losing games, that's because it was like the most popular card by a landslide we've had in a while, and it was very straightforward to counter, whether it was Red Guardian, whether it was straight up Clog or whatever. But yeah, honestly, the thing I really liked about this card, by the way, was that I felt like I had multiple options on turn 6. Because like I had been testing Spectrum stuff, and Spectrum kind of actually worked. I ended up cutting Wong from a lot of the decks because the Wong Doctor Doom lines I felt was a little too greedy. We didn't have enough space for it, but Spectrum felt pretty good, and Onslaught was a low-key, pretty solid card. Like, I surprised myself with a couple Onslaught plays where like just playing Doctor Doom would have lost.
Yep.
And Onslaught gave that additional reach, and especially, well, a little bit of RNG where an extra bot fell and stuff like that, but Onslaught was surprisingly good too.
Yeah, man, it again, it wasn't as like, it's not as like game changing as a Tribunal Onslaught, but it did have that same effect of like that instant power boost up. And yeah, Spectrum was where I went, and I just loved it, enjoyed it. Like, I did not get to make a video on this one for those listening, but it was like the one I wanted to the most, given timing has just been awful. Because the games I played, I loved it. In fact, every time I played Snap this week, yeah, it was just with Doom, no question.
Yeah, and one thing I will say though is that like it was funny because like I ended up being like a card or two off of like the one of the top lists that ultimately came out. And what surprised us is we actually did mention last week that like there was a good chance that cards like Storm and the War Machine style control decks would have a place with Doom 2099 because you want to like limit where they could play while accessing what you want to play. And also the key thing is that like War Machine, Iron Lad, Doom 2099, they also work with Zabu and Psylocke so effectively, right? And honestly, with getting Zabu and then top decking a Storm, closing it out on 3, it's like it made me miss the original Storm a little bit. I don't think Storm, because I played a lot of Storm this week, I don't think Storm is appropriate at a 4-drop. It just does not feel right. It needs to go back down to 3. Like, I understand why it happened, but Storm as a 4-drop, and it's in a good deck that's running like a 54% win rate, but it's just cope, man. Like, it can't be there. We killed a really good card that had a really unique niche role in Marvel Snap. And yeah, it's seeing play now, but I think that's just a testament how good 2099 is and that Shell generally is and War Machine. Like, we need to bring back OG Storm. They need to go back to the drawing board to figure out how they could fix that interaction, because the whole thing they're trying to avoid is Storm into War Machine into Legion. Like, I understand that, but I like playing this week made me realize how much I missed original Storm.
And killing one card for ultimately like one busted, it just sucks. Like, there's so many other ways to use Storm than just that, and it takes the creativity away. And one of like the cards I just felt like was done right. It reminds me of like when they nerfed Doctor Doom and they were like, yeah, that just didn't work. So I hopefully they redo that. I don't know if they will, but the hope's there.
I want to throw something out there. I had this thought. This is like a shower thought that's really random. Once again, this is why they're not game devs idea, but I had this thought of, instead of bring Storm back down to 3, make Legion a 6, because I still think flipping locations on turn 6 could be very powerful. Make him a 6, but have him add a random card to each location after he swaps them. I think that would be interesting. Imagine like the locations all change and then there's a random like X mansion type effect on every. I thought that'd be really cool.
It would
right?
be wild.
He's chaos, isn't he?
Yeah, dude, that would have been nuts. I mean, originally we said we wanted a 6 cost to begin with for Legion. We were kind of hoping they went that route, but yeah, they would have to add something to the kit. So I don't hate the idea.
I mean, you might ultimately when
it's out there,
their side gets all Infinauts and you're just like pulling Icemen, whatever. Maybe again, just an idea, just throwing it out there. But regardless, I really liked where 2099 landed. If you're thinking about the keys, the Spotlight Cache is so awful.
So bad.
But from a token perspective, like, I don't know. I think he's good. Next month has a lot of good cards as well. But ultimately I do think that 2099 is worth owning. Like, that's just my take on it. I like the card. I had a lot of fun playing him. I think this week is probably the worst he's going to feel because Clog was everywhere. And once people kind of settle in on I'm going to counter Doom 2099, I think he's going to be pretty decent, like a mid 50% win rate deck. I don't think he's going to be crushing it. I don't see him getting nerfed, that's for sure. He feels good, he feels strong, he feels fair. That's kind of my take overall. And Cozy, that's going to take us to the economy update that was announced in Marvel Snap. And this is a big deal, huge change. And quite frankly, good changes happening here. We're going to be discussing it. But before we do that, we're actually take a second here to actually read through the economy update itself for those that are obviously listening and those that may not be knowledgeable of the news. So I'm going to read it verbatim. It's a bit of a longer read, but we're going to read it verbatim from the Snap team. As Marvel Snap grows, we've seen how acquiring cards has become progressively more difficult. Your feedback has been heard loud and clear. It helps us identify and prioritize a number of major concerns. And Cozy, we'll start by talking about these concerns, I guess. The first is a lack of agency in acquiring new cards. Second, new users struggling to get to the meta faster as it takes too long to get all the Series 3 cards. Third, returning players struggle to catch up after missing a season or more of new cards and rewards. And then 5, the randomness of the Spotlight cash system feeling frustrating. Those are pretty significant pain points, and I think they nailed it. Those are significant pain points.
Yep. I mean, without question, to me, for how much they love talking about the new player experience, like just the new player experiences, unless you like install it and live under a rock and like you don't look at anything, like I don't know, maybe if you wouldn't jump out as much there. But it's virtually impossible to be someone new playing this game on a regular basis without, spending loads of money.
No, absolutely. And like just it feels like an impossible hill to climb as a new player, right? Especially when like I've been in, conquest matches where like I'm clearly against a new player and I feel awful. Like they stand no chance, right? Like you feel so I'm rooting for them to beat me with their Khazar Zoo deck without Mockingbird or Gilgamesh or anything, right? Like literally like pool 1 Zoo, and I root for you guys, but like hopefully, and spoiler alert, they're going to be making some improvements there. We'll have to see how these improvements shake out for the new players, but I think it will be positive. To continue the conversation here, they did say, we take these concerns seriously and are in the process of improving the ways that players can acquire cards in the game. We currently have a design we think addresses many of the issues above. However, rebuilding some core aspects of Snap takes time to get right. We're in the process of gathering additional feedback on the design while the work continues in production. We don't have exact dates for completion yet, but it will take months. And that's fair, right? I mean, like, game dev is hard. We've heard that before. But in the meantime, and this is the big update, Cozy, this is what they're implementing. They said, in the meantime, we are taking some steps in the near term to improve quality of life around card acquisition. So in January's patch, they will be doubling the drop rate of Series 3 cards in collector's reserves to give you from 2 to every 9 caches to 4 out of every 9 caches. So doubling the drop rate of Series 3 cards in collector's reserves. They state that this will substantially reduce the time it takes for new players to acquire all Series 3 cards. This is a band-aid fix, but it's something that they can implement quickly. Second, they're going to be increasing the token payout from the Spotlight cash duplicates from 1,000 tokens to 2,000 tokens. They said that they know that there are multiple issues with the Spotlight cash system, but one of the biggest complaints is pulling a duplicate from the forced slot with a hard-earned Spotlight key. And again, they do mention that these are band-aid style solutions, but these are things that they can do straightforward and quickly. They're also, once again, reminding us that they are planning for a larger series drop in the first quarter of 2025. Well, it would have to be bigger than what they did last time at the very least. So anyways, to sum it up, doubling the rate that Series 3 cards are being unlocked for newer players, and they're going to be increasing the Spotlight Cash duplicate tokens from 1,000 to 2,000.
Yeah, I feel like, first of all, I think one of the things that is obvious with, Second Dinner as a company is they're slower than I think most people expect or want them to be. They're slow with their content releases, and I don't think we knew that out the gate. That's why we kind of had some high hopes with a lot of stuff. And when something gets announced, it's way down the line or it doesn't happen. And so, that revolves around them wanting to be a small company. I know that's something that they want to be, which is, nothing wrong with that. But in turn, that's the result, right? But on the more, brighter side, yeah, man, I think the biggest thing as the Band-Aid, I mean, the tokens is nice. It's double, obviously. But being able to speed up progression that much more for Pool 3 is massive. I mean, that's a huge way to just get things going way more and get people excited to get with their cards, faster. And the fact that they're also working on something in addition to help with just card acquisition, also a W. Obviously, we could go on about it, and I stand very firm in the fact that it's like way too like why it took so long to notice something that's pretty obvious. This is a great, obviously listening to the players, and Q1, we've said it before, we're going to say it again. It's important time to get that out, right? To get Snap back on its feet in a lot of ways, whether it's draft mode, whether it's the card acquisition stuff. Hopefully those two aren't going to hurt each other from getting out, right? But it was cool to see this news for sure. Major economy update.
Yeah, we've been critical in the past, and you know what? We have to give a dub where a dub's earned. Like, this is a big change. It's a positive change. Everyone wins. Obviously, if you're a relatively new player going through Series 3, you really win. And everyone else, the change in the tokens is not insignificant, right? These are positive changes, and it's way harder. Keep this in mind, too. This is something I was thinking about. It's way harder for a company like Second Dinner to increase the price of something they got wrong, as opposed to reducing the price later on. And I don't want to get like all business oriented, but like this is something that maybe they needed more data on and they've made the change to. And I'm hoping that this obviously is here to stay. It's just a straight up bonus to acquisition, which is desperately needed. But most importantly, I think it shows that they've said, we hear you a million times. And we kind of joked a couple weeks ago, we're like, yeah, like, but that doesn't really account for much if you're not actively doing something. And this is them actively doing something. And I do appreciate the fact that they did it, even if it's a Band-Aid solution. This is the fastest they can fix it. They're doing it as fast as they can.
I will say with them too, in the past, historically, if there's something that's happened, in fact, almost 100% of the time, they nail it the second time, right? So like if there's split rate issues, they really made sure that those were, compensated. You name the problem, there's been stuff that like we've had this stuff happen before and they've always delivered. And I don't think there's even a shot that it's near as disappointing as like the December drops or whatever. I think whatever's to come, they're making sure it's a home run. And I'm not worried about that. As critical as I just was, I think Second Dinner is going to nail this update. My point behind it was like, not it's too late. I think Snap's going to be around for a long time. But for a huge part of the player base, like, wish it would have happened sooner. But they're going to nail it and they're going to do a good job.
Yeah. And there's no question that, like, obviously this came later than we would have hoped. But as someone who's looking towards 2025, starry-eyed and hoping for the best, especially for Snap too. Like, I love this game. I love this community, and it would be heartbreaking if the game doesn't turn a corner. I'm really looking forward to these changes being implemented, and I'm looking forward to potentially seeing what they have in the works as well. And I hope that those are positive changes for the card acquisition for everybody. And whether it is the voice, the feedback that the community has given that they finally have taken to heart, which is entirely possible. I got to tell you guys spoke loud and clear through Twitter, through Reddit, through every possible means. And I sounds to me like they took that feedback to heart. I'm just glad these changes are happening, and kudos to Second Dinner for taking a step in the right direction. Kudos for you guys, the listeners, the players, for sticking with the game and providing feedback, because if you just didn't care, you just would have left. You cared, you stuck around, you gave feedback, and now we're getting the positive results. So now, Cozy, I guess all we do is wait. We wait for the release.
Yeah, wait. And listen, it's been proven to me through conversations, through seeing it myself, Snap has remained the most fun by a mile collective card game or digital card game, period. Listen, 2 years is a long time plus to maintain a super fun game, and it's stayed that, right? And, it's like Pocket just had an expanse, and it's so crazy how the instantly getting cards, how that it changes something a little bit. But also just with the fun factor. It's just a fun game. It's a fun game to keep going back to. Hopeful. We wait.
And Cozy, that's going to take us to the Snapchat mailbag. There's actually a number of really fun questions here that I can't wait to dive into because, man, it's so funny. We often fall completely off the rails with our conversations. And when I start to get the tally on the questions of what people are interested in talking about, it's almost never about Snap and never about what I thought people were going to ask us about. It's always about the random one line just thing that we said that we didn't think anyone was even listening to. And that's the thing that gets caught onto. Like this here from Coach McCain, who said, y'all were talking about different apocalypses. Alex was talking about the biblical rapture, while Cozy was talking about the Mayan calendar.
You were talking about the rapture? Like the actual rapture?
Yeah, I was talking about the rapture. I couldn't think of the word. I was talking about how everyone was supposed to disappear.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Wait, because I was like around 2011 though. Isn't the Rapture like of all time like of an apocalypse? But yeah, like I think that's like the all-time aging apocalypse kind of. But yes, the Mayan freaking calendar. That's what it was. Because they've never
Because
gotten.
the Mayan calendar ended, right?
They were always right or whatever. Yeah, dude. I love how it probably was like whoever was responsible of making the calendars just died, and so they were just like, okay, 2011. That's probably as far as we get, guys. And then we took that and rolled with it.
And then I saw some like analysis that someone was saying that technically the Mayan calendar wasn't correct and that 2011 didn't even make sense because they didn't account for leap years. And if you accounted for leap years, then it was actually like in the 1970s or 80s. So like the Mayans were wrong regardless. And so that couldn't have been, I'm like, this guy gave this way too much thought.
Way too much.
Now this, oh my gosh, the number of comments about this, I didn't even realize anyone was even going to pick up on this, Cozy. I cannot believe Alex dislikes Guardians 3. What the hell, man? And the number of statements and questions and comments about me hating Guardians 3, dude, oh my gosh. I don't think I've ever said anything as controversial as the Guardians 3 take. Cozy, did you see these comments?
Yeah, I did. And I remember when the movie came out and you went and saw it, you said the same thing and people were mad there too. Yeah, so you just hated the movie?
Okay, I need to take a second to actually frame my thoughts around Guardians 3. Can we take a moment to talk Guardians 3, Cozy, you and I?
A quick one, because it's Guardians 3, but yes.
Okay. So, I would take that as you don't like it.
It's good. It's just like, if you were to say, can we take a moment and talk about Endgame, Infinity War, like, all the Marvel movies? Yeah, but like, what tell me about G3.
All right, I'll tell you what I didn't like about G3. Do I like the movie? Yes. It's like an 8 out of 10 overall. But like, I love the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. I think they're great. In fact, my kids and I, we watch the second intro all the time where Baby Groot dances to the song and everything. All these, my kids love it. We watch Guardians all the time. The thing I did not like about Guardians 3 that actually really holds me back and probably brings my rating down to like a 7, right? I didn't like the handling, and this is kind of spoilery, so I apologize for anybody who doesn't. Maybe skip ahead a bit. I didn't like the handling of the Gamora Star-Lord. Like, it really bothered me. I didn't like it.
Yeah. Don't talk about too much. It's a little spoiling. That's a major.
That's spoiling? I'm just saying I didn't like how they handled that whole thing.
Okay. I think you use the word hate very loosely. I think when you to say you hate something and then say 8 out of 10, we have different terms of hate.
I guess. But all I'm saying is that like I liked the movie overall. I liked the story beats. Like hating's 8 out of 10. I never said I hated Guardians of the Galaxy. Everyone else is saying I hated Guardians of the Galaxy.
You hate Guardians 3. Yeah, no, it's
no, elephants are unimpressive and overrated. Guardians 3, I simply did not like. Okay, I don't know how it's a spoiler, but okay, Gamora and Star-Lord are in the movie. I do not like how they interacted. That's all I'm gonna say.
The lost files that I have on my phone, there was some A, audio issues, B, I think it was either one of us got sick. There's so much that happened around it. Guys, we have lost footage of Alex and I at the zoo, and we planned on doing this entire in-person tier list, and it was like the greatest idea ever. We tried to jam it into a very quick day where we already did some other things, and the fact of the matter is Alex and I showed up to the zoo. I think I paid like $50 for you to get in there too. Was it 20?
You paid for me to get in there.
It was
too.
like
I do
20...
appreciate it. Thank you for covering my zoo ticket.
It's too late. We had like 20 minutes left before the zoo closed, and Alex and I were like, we have to do this beat. Alex was out in the next flight the next morning. Dude, we were sprinting from animal cage to animal cage. People must have thought we were psychotic. But it was gold content.
It was beautiful. And you know what? As I was like looking at all these, by the way, the San Diego Zoo so much better than the Toronto Zoo, man. Toronto Zoo sucks compared to the San Diego one. San Diego, it's like all the tree cover. It's like nice. It's not hot. It's just nice. Like temperature's beautiful, man. Like, oh my God, tons of parking. Oh, what a great zoo, man. Zoo. What a great day, man. It was nice. I think people thought like you were my dad. Like I was running around having fun. I was flipping the animals off and stuff. And you're like trying to rein me in. You're taking pictures.
Pretty much. Yeah. We had like a selfie stick the whole time. So it was fun. It was fun to watch you to do something in person live. It was cool to see, when people are staring at you, it's a whole nother thing.
Yeah. But anyways, we had lots of fun. And to just put it straight up, I like Guardians of the Galaxy. I love Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't know why people took that as Alex hates Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I liked it. It was fine. I will say one final thing about it, though. I know you made a big deal about this. The whole, like, oh, he drops the F-bomb in it for the first time. That was a very nonchalant and not even impactful F-bomb. Like they could have used so many better F-bombs than where they did it in the Guardians 3 movie. That's just my opinion.
I said something about that?
Yeah, you were excited about the fact that James Gunn was going to use the F-bomb for the first time in Marvel.
Oh, I think I was excited. I think
MCU?
he was excited about it. I think he was.
Oh, see, I misinterpreted that then. So you were excited about him being excited about using the F-bomb.
I was stating the news that he was excited. What do you think about? Did you see the new Superman trailer?
No, I haven't seen it, but I've heard people talk about it.
Bro, DC rivals and DC Snap. Marvel's supreme, bro. It just doesn't.
Buddy,
Yeah.
do you remember when what's it called? I can't remember the name of it. What game was supposed to kill Snap the first time?
DC Dual Force, my man.
Oh,
DC.
people were literally like planning Snap's funeral, planning the funeral, and it was literally like call the ambulance, but not for me.
Yeah,
That's exactly
100%.
what had happened.
Oh man, that seems like an eternity ago at this point.
It does. And you know what else was eternity ago? The buff to the Guardians of the Galaxy Marvel Snap. Here's a Marvel Snap question. How about the Guardians? We're talking about the Guardians of the Galaxy. How about the Guardians steal the power from the card on the other side instead of gaining it? They are kind of scoundrels. It would fit them thematically. And we have been seeing the steal effect. And so, Bean did throw out there that, hey, why don't they just steal the power? That's certainly a buff overall, right? And it doesn't really improve their floor, but it does improve their ceiling.
Well, that's the new car coming out. Rocket Raccoon and Groot.
Oh my gosh. I didn't even consider that. It is literally the Guardians of the Galaxy stealing power from a card being played. Oh my gosh, Cozy. So basically, you're a genius, they're a genius, Glenn's a genius. So Glenn's already on top of this.
So give it to all of them. I think it gains
Give it to
power
all of
too.
them.
I
So
think
give
they gain
that power
too.
to everyone.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I guess we're in agreement then. Okay. Now, 2 more questions here. Jim Bourne, and this is a bit of a roast on my behalf, and Cozy, I do appreciate you, constantly roasting me on this. Jim does say, Kang and the Tourney is Alex's version of Al Bundy's 4 touchdowns in a single game. And the comment thread after this was all people reminiscing about how, like, youngins wouldn't even know who Al Bundy is. But as someone who played a lot of football, Cozy, you got to know that Polkai legend, Al Bundy.
For sure. These are the conversations I like the most. This is when I'm like, I don't know, a few Snapchats ago, you're like, it's not just views, they're people. That's when I feel that the most, is just good golden takes like that.
Yeah, and I mean, literally Al Bundy's entire gimmick of like flushing the toilet, I still think is funny. You know what I mean? Yeah. But like that show can never exist today. It can never exist today.
There's several.
Right? I can't even watch today. Like I've become too sensitive for Al Bundy.
Dude, Tropic Thunder could never happen, and that's a top tier movie.
Yeah, you know what though? When this comment happened, like there was a point in time where my fantasy football team name was like the Polkai. Oh my gosh, I can't remember the name of the Polkai something. Oh my gosh, I don't remember. Might have been Patriots. I'm not sure. Someone in the comments will know what the name of Al Bundy's team was, but I guess he was on Modern Family as well, right? That was like his last big gig.
Yep, I think so.
Yeah, it makes sense. It sounds about right. But our last question of the day comes in from Jason. And this one's about you, Cozy, because you said something that Jason resonated alongside you with. I'm so happy that Cozy and his friends also played the, quote, finish your beer during a race of Mario Kart, but you can't drink and drive game.
Yes, I feel like it had so many, like Mario Kart was definitely like what we named it, I think. But I love that this is like an unspoken, like, bro, I always wonder that, like in the day and age of social media, right? It's obvious when something spreads, it goes viral. But like back in the day, right? It's funny how something like any urban legend, myth, just school talk could go from like Maine to California or Canada down here. Like it's crazy that, how news used to spread like that, or how culture things, because Mario Kart, very cultural, just big impact in the world. But how that makes it across, state to state.
You know what this reminded me of that does not exist anymore, and like modern kids and people that play video games on the internets wouldn't really experience? In your friend group, there was always the guy that was really good at specific games, right? And they were considered like gods at the game. Like for me, man, I was so good at Super Smash. GoldenEye, I could dumpster anybody in GoldenEye. Easy. but we didn't have the internet. And so like I was just a god amongst men in my core group of friends at GoldenEye and Mario Kart. And I never really knew how I would fare against someone down the street or someone at another school or whatever, right? And I remember some kid was like, yo, my buddy Nathan would dominate you. Like he will juggle you in Smash Bros on 64. I'm like, no, he's not. I'm like, who's he play? He's like, yo, he plays Ness. I'm like, buddy, that guy's easy. I'm gonna smash him with Zelda. And yeah, he juggled me, and it was shameful for me to experience. But you know what? You wouldn't have never known. And now on the internet, like you're against everyone. There's always going to be someone who's better than you. There's always going to be that number one guy. You're never that guy. But you know what? On my court, damn it, I was number one, and that's all that mattered. And I feel like we're missing that these days. You know, it's like you got all this infinite competition. Man, I owned my streak.
The glory days. The glory days.
But the true glory days, man, I remember even when I got older, like someone was like, hey man, like I heard you're good at Mario Kart. I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty good. Can you drift? He's like, yeah, I drift. I'm like, okay, well, let's do it. And he ended up smoking me. Like, I mean, like he must have been competing on like time trial leaderboards. He smoked me. He dumpstered me.
I love
and I was
how
like,
much
man, I thought I was good at this game.
I'm like the glory days. And you're like, yeah. And then you go into a whole nother room. Yes. I do agree. I miss LAN parties. You'll never have that moment captured in time again. Although I do love the internet, though. I do love the ability to play against everybody too, and then it's like that much crazier. Like I'm trying to get top 500 in Rivals, and it's like trying to get to this achievement is so fun, addicting.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And in talking about LAN parties, the thing I'll end on is like I remember like when I was in high school, my parents like one of the rules of high school kids is you don't go on vacation or leave your high school age son at home by himself. That's stupid. He's gonna do something silly, you know what I mean?
Move. Yeah.
My parents were like, it's Alex, he's fine. So they left, right? And I had a party. I had a LAN party. We were all playing StarCraft and Warcraft 3. My buddies brought all their PCs down. We set up the monitors and power bars everywhere. And my neighbor, my dad's best friend, Bill, he was tasked with if anything's going on, which, you know, probably not anything serious, but you go check it out, right? I remember Bill coming down the stairs to the basement being like, what is going on down here? And seeing like literally just 15 dudes playing video games. And he's like, not what I expected. Now I keep up the good work, boys, and just left.
Yeah, I love how you say like I threw a party and then you said a LAN party. Like that summed that up really well instead of what people I'm sure would imagine.
Yeah, he came down. He was probably expecting like I don't know anything other than that, and it was the least cool. I mean, probably in his eyes, it was the least cool party. But to this day, me and my buddies, we still look back at those times. And do you remember that picture of the dude duct taped to the ceiling?
Oh yeah,
do you remember that classic picture?
Infamous. Yep.
Yeah. That's amazing. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. We appreciate each and every one of you. Have yourself a happy holidays, and we'll see you guys on the next edition of the Marvel Snapchat.